welcome to Through It All. I got you with Mark and Sharanda Brooks. We're on episode 8.
Episode 8.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's flowed really, really fast
Time is not stopping for anybody.
for anybody. So we're going to let's talk about blank.
We say sex. Can we talk about sex?
So we're going to talk about sex. So how are you today?
I'm excited to talk about this.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Not excited?
Nervous, should I say, because I don't know what you're going to say.
I mean,
Hopefully,
I'll be good.
Okay, good.
If you don't follow us, please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, on anywhere you're receiving podcasts, whether it's all the different platforms. You follow us there. That way you can get notified when we drop new podcasts. And then we also have an Instagram page that will continue to drive and promote and put new content on there. And for all those that have followed us, thank you. So thank you for being part of this journey. This is something that we're going to continue, and we hope to continue to grow with, and help you grow with us.
Yeah, hopefully you all received something, got something from some of the content we have already shared. Hopefully it's been a blessing to you. Hopefully you have taken some and used it in your marriage.
Amen to that. So we'll jump right in and let's talk about this. This is biblical. In the Bible, it talks about when men and women are married. I don't have the scriptures. I didn't look the scriptures up, but it talks about becoming one flesh. It talks about leaving your mother and father and cleaving to your wife. It tells man that. Women, it talks about their responsibility in the marriage as well. And then it also talks about, it mentions sex in the Bible. It talks about the bed is undefiled, and it's talking about that in marriage. And what that means is what you do in your bed in marriage is your business. God is, he gave the sanctity of marriage so that you can enjoy each other, not only in the growing together of the relationship, but also in sex, which is an enjoyable part of marriage. And we serve a God that gives good gifts.
Yeah, he does.
And that is a good gift. He made us to become one another, and it's a serious thing and something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And there's a lot of things that come with sex, and there's some things that can come as a result of no sex. It could be used in pleasure, it can be used in pain, and not just the physical act of it, but the mental act of it.
Right.
So we're going to touch on some of the things that come along with that, and we're not going to tell you the how and what you should try and all those things. I have a saying: I stay out of grown folks' business,
Right.
and I hope grown folks stay out of mine. But we will talk about it in not only in a spiritual sense, but in a natural sense, and some of the things you shouldn't do, and all the other stuff that comes with it, right?
Right.
And I'll start us in this, even in a relationship, right? Where we are in our life and our spiritual journey, we believe that it is something that is enjoyable for married couples. We have encouraged our children not to do it before marriage, and encouraged myself to do that. But I haven't always been in church, but I am where I am now, and so I know that happens outside of marriage and things like that. But there's some really repercussions with sex. You're coming together and you're joining to one another. And I know I won't go far into this. I'll touch on it and then we'll get into the subject. But just be very careful, because as you give your body to someone, you're not only just the physical act. There's spiritual things.
Yeah.
There's emotional things that come with that, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. I'll just leave it there.
Great.
All right. So let's touch on some of the things, because we've gone to marriage
Retreats.
retreats, and I know this has been a subject in some of the breakout sessions
Yeah.
where it's all women and it's all men. So I'm curious to hear some of the things that you all talked about. If you don't have to go into detail, y'all don't talk about any. Is it only the guys that talk about it?
No, just basically when it comes to that, our body is not our own. My body belongs to you, your body belongs to me, and just having respect for one another when it comes to that, and being taught that don't use it as a weapon, which women they do sometimes. Like if they're mad at their spouse, be like, I ain't giving him the cookie tonight. Or if you did XYZ, he ain't getting a cookie till he do XYZ, and it shouldn't be used as a weapon. And I know sometimes it takes growth to get to that point. Like, okay, I know he did XYZ, and I'm not giving him, the cookie tonight or whatever. It comes with growth. Like, okay, yes, he might have did this to me, but I'm still gonna lay with my husband tonight, regardless of what happened.
No, it's probably easier said than done.
It's easier said than done. Like I said, that comes with growth, and you got to get to that place, mentally, however emotionally, however you get there. You just need to get to that spot. It is easier said than done.
Now, you were saying something, and I'm gonna take us back and forth a little bit. You were saying give him the cookie. Why is it always the woman got to give the man the cookie as if
because you guys are different. Like when we're upset with you, if you guys are upset, you guys can do it on spot. It doesn't matter. You're upset, whatever. It's different for us.
So you're saying we have no emotional. Like if we not.
I don't think so, y'all. I don't think I have any emotional ties with it. Y'all just be like, okay, we're mad. Okay, we still can.
You blow on my neck and I'm ready.
Yep.
Mad or not.
Yep.
I mean, I am not gonna deny it. But I think as you mature and get older, and your body starts to change, that can change. You might have to blow twice, twice on my neck, and I'm ready to go. What you also said some things, and I'm gonna touch on some of the stuff you have told me that you've learned, and then I'm gonna talk about some of the things that I've learned around this subject. So I don't know if you remember, and you talked about some of the sessions was sometimes you have to just give your spouse what they need, and not even you may not get what you need out of it, meaning you may not reach that point
Right.
Of climax, but it's not really they needed that,
Yeah.
people call it the quickie or whatever. They just needed that, and you're like, all right, it's all about you right now, and that's okay. Do you remember that? I remember you talked about that a little bit.
I remember it. Yeah, in the session, she was saying, sometimes it's if you don't get what you need out of it, and some people might disagree. They might be like, no, I want us both to get, the enjoyment out of it, not one spouse getting the enjoyment out of it. She said sometimes it might be what you need, it might be what I need at that moment. But some people might disagree, but like, I want he getting enjoyment. I want it too. So
yeah, and I remember. I agree with that. I mean, I think at you are connected together. You want both of you to have the same type of enjoyment. Mm-hmm. I do remember one of the things they talked about was, and I never thought about it this way, but it is a true statement. In order for a woman to get pregnant, she doesn't have to climax, but he does.
Right.
And that just shows you that even for life to come, a man can get more enjoyment out of it than a woman. So we have to be men. We have to be very cognizant of not just going for ours.
Right.
And make sure that our spouse is satisfied in that, because what could happen is if you continue just going for yours and not worried about her, that's going to be a turnoff. Like, look, this is a one-sided deal, and I don't want to give you the cookie no more, and then it could just turn. So you have to really be cognizant of that, or whatever it takes for you to make sure that she's there and gets the same type of level of enjoyment out of it. It may not even be the physical act. It could be the mental act before you get to the physical act. Yeah. We always talked about compromise, communication, and I'll continue to harp on this. It's the daily chores, the daily grind is not giving that to one spouse. I know women are emotional, and house full of dishes, and you come rubbing on her leg.
Right, when it want some, and yeah.
She thinking about the dishes, and you
And she's
wondering
thinking
why.
in her head like, I know he is not rubbing up on me. No, those dishes in there. Those clothes need to be folded. This, that, and the third. And he wants to. In the back of her head, she's thinking like, But I know for me, you have to think about, okay, he's my spouse. I know he wants it. I need to give him some.
There it is again. You giving me some. I want to give you some too.
You do, but it's
Yeah.
different.
I know it is what it is, right? That's just
different.
that's the way it's always portrayed, as if we're robots out here and just
Not robots.
we just
Not
command.
robots, but it's just, it's different because where we're just, the wife is usually the one that is doing, everything, especially a wife that stays home.
Yeah.
And, it's a little different. Even though she stays home, she still doesn't want to be the one doing everything. She wants that shared experience with her spouse to come in the house. Yeah, you might have worked your job mentally at your job and not physically. Like she's being home, she's more physical, in the home.
Yeah. No, I mean, even for those that don't stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe we have to look at that up. I think times have changed where two people are working, and so that's even more paramount that you share in, because he went to work, she went to work. It's shared. It's not a one-sided thing.
Right.
Really be cognizant of that, whatever the situation is, whether it's one work, one doesn't. Outside of the home, work is work. It doesn't mean a paycheck is involved.
Right.
There's work that comes to it.
Right.
I'll touch on some of the things we talked about in our workshop, and I'll just talk about some of the things I've learned outside of not just those marriage retreats. Is that we already touched on a woman being very mentally has to be into it, right? And men not so much. Our physical is more prominent. You can, as long as you don't have an ulterior motive, right? The flirting, the gestures, and it's not dirty talk, but it's not dirty because it's in love, right? But it's that type of flirting that you do can help lead to that. Whether you want that or not, it could just be something that's genuine. You can't just jump in and expect it to be everything to be ready and go. You've got to foreplay, and foreplay isn't just in the bedroom.
Right.
It's
the text messages that you're sending. It's the you
flowers.
Coming home, flowers. It's you coming home, getting the kids, giving them a bath, getting them ready for bed. Especially if she got home first. It's just those little things. It doesn't have to be like you said, the physical stuff. It's just the day to day.
Yeah. And every, and even in this, we have listeners that don't have children, and you have to, we always talk about the chase.
Right.
You got to chase them like you chased them to get them, like you chased them when they were dating. You can't let it get mundane, and you can't let that be something that's a chore. You may hit lulls, and you've got to fight through those lulls, because it is real.
It is real. You're
tired sometime, and
yes.
and you're aggravated and frustrated sometime, and you've got to be able to fight through that, because when you stop connecting in that physical sense, it could lead you to so many things. It could lead you to wander. You can have a wandering eye. You can have a wandering mind, and that connection should draw you closer to each other all the time as you do that.
And you should be so in tune to your relationship, like. You should know, like, oh my God, like we wasn't physical, we didn't do anything like this week or for days, and you shouldn't let it go.
The whole week?
Some people do, babe.
Jesus.
I'm just, you just gotta, life is lifing.
I don't need that much life.
I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm just saying, not for us, but other people.
I'm just saying, I know.
I'm just saying, you have to muster up that energy. There's times I've been dead tired. And I was like, I got to muster up this energy.
Yeah, you were dead tired on our honeymoon. Not on our honeymoon, on our
No,
wedding night. On our wedding
wedding
night.
night.
And I said, let me go ahead and start this thing out. Nay, not so. This ain't happening. We gotta get this thing. We gotta consummate this thing.
Yeah.
You know, some of the other things they talked about was not using it as a weapon. You mentioned that, and men can do that too, right? They could weaponize and have their spouse feel bad and talk down on them as if they're obligated. You know, and it's you don't want anything out of obligation. You want it out of willingness. You know, and I'll be transparent with this. I know early in our marriage, I don't know how early. Well, it was early, and I don't know how long it lasted. You know, I went through my
Pouting stage.
yeah, I went through a pouting stage, right? And then it was misguided in so many ways because what I didn't want was me to be the chaser all the time, and you know, it's that filling out period. You know, you want to be wanted as well, but then you don't want to over exhaust. I want to say overstay your welcome, but I was misguided, and the reason I was misguided is you hear all these stories, you hear people talk, and not just people you know. You hear it on TV where you know, man, she don't never since we've been married, she cut me off and things like that. And what we were hearing was things that's not a that's not a healthy marriage. You know, what is healthy is that no matter what, that yearning and that desire for each other is there. And you told me, hey, you said, look, whenever you want, I'm available. And I heard you, but I didn't hear you. And now that I think back, you know, I'm very fortunate that you've never weaponized it. Neither have I, and not that a man would, you know. And we wouldn't withhold. Well, there may be guys that say, no, she's got on my nerves, and no, I don't want to either. And that's real. I don't know how many out there, but I'm sure it happens. Mm-hmm. But you've never done that, and but I do hear that from men, and I don't know if you have friends that have talked like that or talked about that, and you've discouraged them from thinking that way. But it's just, it shouldn't be that way. Right. You know, that love is not just the mental; it's all of it. It's physical. It's the yearning. It's the desire. It's all of those things.
Finish telling you sorry how you used to pout.
Man, I was trying to get past that. Oh yeah, I did. I used to pout if you didn't chase me, or I perceived that you didn't initiate. That was always the thing. You know, who starts it? I started it the last 3 times. It's your turn. And you shouldn't think like that. If I started 6 times in a row or 8 times or the whole year, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. I think that was more so when we started having children during that period.
Yeah, because you used to, the kids, I'm like, they need to know. They need to know how they got here. You know, it's just, yeah, it was. I mean, you that's just life. You hear things, your bedroom may be near the kitchen and the kids up late. I'm like, oh no. But the pouting thing, it should be a discussion. And even the likes, the dislikes, the desires, the fantasies, all those things should be discussions that you have with each other. And you should have them in earnest, have them in fun. Mm-hmm. Because again, it's you two. And I always, you know, used to think as a single guy, some guys used to think this way, and it's, again, misguided. I can't sleep with one woman for the rest of my life. Misguided. Because you can.
Misguided.
Yeah, you can. You know, if you have treated her right and she's treated you right, you all can have so much fun in that. In the physical act, in the mental act of it. There could just, it won't, and I say this with air quotes, it's not the same woman. I mean, it's the same person, but they can be different. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. You can have fun with it. And that's the thing that I love, is that I don't have to wonder. I don't have to worry. I know whose I am. I know who's mine. I know it ain't nobody else's. And you can be free in that. Right. You know, that's a freedom in its own right, that I've got my mate and she's got me.
Absolutely. And like you were saying, like have discussion, if it's something that you like, you don't like, have that discussion with your spouse so you're not, in the bedroom every time you do it, you're cringing about, something they do that you don't like. Have that discussion so they know like what you like and what you don't like.
Definitely. And as your body changes, as you change, talk about it.
Yeah.
You should be able to be open. If you felt like they are using it as a weapon or anything, talk about it.
Talk about it.
Communication. Yeah. We talked about communication very early. This is a part of that communication, right? It's not just an act and then you right back to business. Yeah, there's pleasure in that, and that's absolutely wonderful. But then you still got life, right? And you can't hump the whole and not eat and not have pay bills. You just, we talked about on the marriage retreats that
you can't stay in a room all day.
Yeah, you can't. You got to come up for air. You got to. And I'd laugh, but it's true. I know on some of these retreats, you can tell who just got married because you don't see them. They must get room service the whole time and don't come out. But and that's cool too. You do you. But make sure that you all. It's an integral part of marriage. But at some point, not at some point. Let me back up. It shouldn't be the only thing in marriage.
Right.
Because if you live long enough, and if the Lord say so, as you grow old together, that may start to dwindle. Mm-hmm. And other things.
That's not going to keep a marriage.
And that's not going to keep a marriage. Is that the only thing you got? If you're a one-trick pony, that ain't going to work. So you got to have multiple tricks. And I don't mean tricks in a bad way. You've got to have multiple connection points with each other so that it lasts and it can continue it can fuel that. If you have other things, that shouldn't be the only fuel.
Right. I remember in our marriage counseling, what Bishop asked, like, what if you wasn't able to perform, or if I wasn't able to perform, like, what would we do?
Oh, what did I say? What did you say?
I'm still was going to marry. It didn't matter.
Did I say that? I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sure I said that. I just wanted to get married.
But those are things you have to think about.
You do because you see that. You see accidents and people losing the use of their limbs. You see people get chronic illnesses, and you see people stick by their side because it's not just about that.
Right.
That is a wonderful part of marriage, but that is not the only part of marriage.
That's right.
And of course, I would stay with you, sweetie. I was gonna say something, but I left it. You told me not to go crazy.
Yes, don't go crazy.
I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'd say for those that are married, go crazy with each other. Enjoy each other, love each other.
That's right.
Just enjoy each other because it is a gift that we have, is to be joined one to another.
That's right.
And I'm hoping that, again, we haven't gone deep, but we've hit some pointed things that you may not think about because you need to be able to look them in the eye and say, if you couldn't perform again,
right,
I still got you. And that's through it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally through it all.
Yeah, you have to do what works best for you, and you have a discussion. I know somebody I used to work with. They said they used to schedule their intimacy time together. If that's what you have to do, schedule it. Whatever works for you.
Yep, Sunday through Sunday. It's all on the table.
Oh gosh.
I don't know if I should say this. Stop me if you don't want me to talk about it. This was pre-marriage. What you used to. Don't say it. Mm-mm. You know what I'm talking about when you said don't say it.
Cut it.
Okay, I won't say it. All right, you gave me the look. Maybe we need to talk about the look at some point.
We are going to talk about the look.
Yeah, because you just about gave me the look, so I'll leave that there. What were we going to talk about next week? Do you remember? Oh, celebrate the wins. We haven't done that. We were going to talk about celebrate the wins. And, I picked these subjects because I remember the ones you picked. They were,
oh, my God. I did not pick on the bad ones.
Don't hit the thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, they were bad. It was like communication.
That was not true. Communication is a
No,
good
not
thing.
that one, but it was the other ones you said. It was like time apart. And then boom, I was like, oh, dog. So I picked, let's talk about sex. And then I talk about celebrate the wins. So I think I'm just,
Okay.
okay. But we're going to talk about celebrating the wins after we talked about having sex. That's a win every time.
Oh gosh.
So that's what we'll talk about next week. We're almost through our first season. We've got 2 more episodes.
Yep.
And we'll be done with season 1. And then we hope that season 2 will be just as exciting. Because through it all, I've got you.
Same. Got you.
So if you don't follow us, please do. Again, we're on YouTube. You can find us on all streaming platforms. Like, subscribe, share. We want this content to go out to others and to be an enjoyment. We promise to keep getting better. We promise to find relevant content and share it with you.
Yeah, we're amateur, y'all.
We're just doing the work. We're just doing the work that we God called us to do. So
yes.
And we'll continue to research and share the stuff with you. So until next time.
Until next time.
On Through It All, I've Got You with Mark and Sharanda. Have a good one.
Have a good one.